tuning in to the online broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Yo.
Turn it up. Turn it up.
Is this disco?
Diego, Superchargers, San Diego, Superchargers.
Come on, Carlton.
San Diego, Superchargers, San Diego, Superchargers. Yeah, you guys know why that's playing right now, because my Chargers beat Kevin's 49ers to send them packing and crying like little babies.
Smash.
And we, as of right
smash.
now, have the wild card spot. Yeah.
You know, I initially I was going to come on and try to defend the Niners.
First, before you
and the
talk,
victory.
let everyone see this shirt that he's wearing is my shirt.
That is right.
Yeah.
Don't let the microphone block it. Don't try to hide behind the mic.
But you know what, Tina?
It
Thanks for the
actually
shirt.
isn't really that tight on him.
I'm surprised, yeah, because it looks like his shirt.
Exactly, right, Phil?
You know what, Tina? I'm doing you a favor. I'm making the Chargers look sexy. You ain't never seen a Charger this sexy before.
I've definitely seen Chargers look a lot better than that.
Yeah, you keep thinking and dreaming. But anyways, with that being said,
welcome to Monday Night Football, you guys. Woo. Thanks for coming back for another week, our last week of technical Monday Night Football.
We're back.
I'm your host, Christina Kaplan. I'm joined by...
What's up? I am the 49er faithful, Kevin John.
And I'm Thaddeus Massey. Here to referee these two.
Yeah, anyways. So, like I said, my Chargers came from behind, down 21-0.
They came from behind, all right, bent them over, and it was a wrap. Yeah.
Thaddeus,
keep it real.
I
That's
have
what
no
happened.
idea where that came from.
That's what happened. They came from behind on them.
Can we explain the game?
49ers got bent over and lost that game. Tell me, America, didn't they lose that game? They should have won the game, but they got bent over.
Yeah.
That's what they used
Thaddeus,
to do. They came from behind.
all this bending. Maybe you got bent over before the show.
I bent them over.
Kevin's giving me so much crap for my team losing at home. Well, your team lost at home in overtime after you were up 21-0. So,
Okay, wait, this is what I want to say. I want to say something, and this is not defense to the 49ers, but maybe there is something to this new
Levi Stadium. Yeah, it's
maybe there's something
cursed.
to this curse. I heard these rumors about this curse at this new field. Do you think there is anything to that?
There's no curse at all. The curse to the Niners right now.
I was trying to help you out, bro.
No.
Wait, no, Kevin. Tell us what your reasoning for why they lost this game was that you were talking about earlier. Go ahead. Tell everyone what you think the reason is.
Go ahead.
Thaddeus, are you constipated?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
All right. So basically, like I said, the Niners are out of playoff contention. We all know this. I accepted it. The Niners have accepted it, obviously. So that was indicative of their play in the second half of that game. They were playing like they didn't care, like they had no season to play for, that they had no playoffs to play. They pretty much gave up the team.
Indicative, all right.
It was. And I admit, Tina, they looked like crap the second half. I'm not refusing that. I'm not denying that. That was obvious. The 49ers played like crap the second half because they're playing like they don't care. Because they're out of playoff contention. This is a team that went to 3 straight NFC championships, and they're out this year. They didn't give a damn. They didn't care. But with that being said, Phillip Rivers was my Superman of this week. I tip my hat to him. He did the damn thing.
Yes. So you heard that. You heard
Yeah,
that right.
You got to give props where props are due.
Kevin just said that his team didn't care enough to win that game.
I think that the 49ers would beg to differ, and so would the coaching staff.
I agree.
No, this is the thing. I am not, let me be very clear. I'm not opposing the obvious, okay? The obvious was they did get beat at home by a very good Chargers team that second half. Now, we're not going to mention Phillip Rivers' 3 interceptions the first half, but they got beat by a very good team that second half. They were not in sync together. There was no poison. There was no sense of urgency with the Niners the second half. You just saw they crumbled, and I'm saying a lot of that is indicative of a team that knows they're not playing for the playoffs. I mean, they look like they did not, they didn't care. That's all I'm saying. They look like they did not care. Not to take anything away from the Chargers. You guys did phenomenal. I mean, that's one of the best games to close a fourth quarter that I've ever seen. Those 2 fourth down passes that Rivers made on that last drive were freaking incredible. Like, I'm not taking that away from you. I think Rivers and the Chargers did a great job. I'm just saying the Niners are playing like they don't give a damn because they know their season's over.
Okay, well, we already know what you two think. We want to know what our fans think, and one in particular, probably one of our biggest fans. You know what? She's not a big fan. She's actually one of us. So we're gonna go ahead and tap her in right now and bring her on into the line.
I have to use the bathroom real quick. So
Stef Z,
I'd have to crap on myself if I was you too.
I am here.
Oh, girl,
Stef
what's
Z
up?
is in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Stef Z's on the line.
Guys?
What's going on, Steph?
Not much, dude. I just got to New York, but I had to call in, and I love that Tina Cap sent me a picture of Kevin, because for some reason I can't watch you guys live right now, but you look fabulous in that Chargers.
I have no idea what she's saying.
It's great. You know what? It fits him perfectly too.
Yeah,
it's
not even tight on
or
him.
Anything. He can actually go right to a Chargers game right now and fit right in.
I visualized this like really small shirt, but that didn't happen.
No, actually, it is a really small shirt.
Okay, let me tell you something, Steph. Let me tell you something. Okay, the reason they keep talking about my shirt is because they've never seen this sexy side of me before. Okay, I'm bringing sexy back with this shirt. Justin Timberlake is somewhere scared right now because he knows I'm bringing sexy back with this shirt.
He's scared.
Steph knows you well enough to know that she doesn't need to believe anything that you're saying right now.
No, I know you well enough to know that you need to put a little bit of meat on those bones. Sexy back in that shirt.
You know what?
That's his claim to fame. Bones. That's why they call him Bones.
Hey,
New York. Okay, or New York loves.
I love New York.
I love New York. Yeah, they call him Bones on there. So that's his nickname.
Oh man. Dude, and the fact that the best part about the game for me was getting the text from Kevin that he was sending to Tina Cap.
Yeah.
The picture of the score at 21-0.
Oh, I was reading those texts too. I just didn't want to say anything.
He's going to eat his words. And he said it, he did. And you know, even the sadder part is, I actually kind of used to be a Niners fan, but I actually get a kick out of them losing now because I feel like you understand my pain.
Hey, but I gotta congratulate you on the really close game that you guys had with the Patriots. I mean, 16-17, you had it in your clutches. I didn't watch the game, but I heard that it was a missed field goal and could have taken him down.
It was actually a blocked field goal again. Folks' field goal got tipped and he missed it, but in the same sense, it's like at the end of the game, Brady just took the victory stand. So like they could have, scored if we would have got the field goal. We did play well. We usually play well against the Patriots. We usually play well against the Dolphins. I'm actually excited. I'm going to the Dolphins game this Sunday. I'm going to Miami, so that'll be fun.
Yeah, it will be fun.
I mean, the highlight of my weekend was definitely watching the Chargers-Niners game. And,
yes.
Seeing Kevin lose. I love you, Kevin. I really do. I just love that you went like crickets and radio silent after the texting, after the loss. It was just kind of like, I almost wanted to give you a hug.
Well, thank you, Steph.
I almost wanted to give you a hug.
No, she did. And that's the thing. Up here, I may make fun of Steph's Jets week after week because they're kind of easy to make fun of. But at the end of the day, Steph knows that I love her, I have her back, and I would give her a hug if need be as well. So I reciprocate the same thing to you. It's a mutual feeling. And also, I'm going to the Niner game this Sunday. So I'm going to be there at Levi Stadium.
You want to take that shirt with you and represent true winners?
I'd rather die before doing that. But and it's funny, Steph. The person saying that is the lone person's team who has not clinched a playoff berth yet.
Okay, but the only team that actually has a chance, who's technically in the wild card spot right now.
That's true.
It's just funny that he won't ever let it up. No matter what, he's still got something to throw out there. Like, well, even if we go to the Super Super Bowl, I'm sure he'll still have something to say like, well, you know, your team, you're probably not going to win because, you know, you barely made it. Like,
Tina,
you barely won.
If the Chargers go to the Super Bowl, I will come in here with Charger high heels on, a Charger wig on, and Charger Daisy Dukes.
You heard
if they make it to the Super Bowl.
You heard that, everyone.
Okay?
So now we know what he has in his closet.
Yeah. I don't know if we want to. Go ahead,
It's
Steph.
almost better if the Jets go for the Jets tattoo on his neck.
I agree.
Heels is almost better.
I agree. Actually, I don't know if I want to see him in Daisy Dukes. I might never be able to get that out of my brain.
You know, you would be fantasizing about it every night. Now, speaking of, I love you guys, Steph. I really do miss you in here. It's not the same without you.
I know. I know. I'm a little bummed. And but you know, we'll be covering playoffs.
He's like, she was like, I'll cry about it in Miami.
Yeah, right. She's like, yeah, I really miss you guys. Otherwise, I'm heading to Miami.
Dude, I got field passes. I'm excited.
Wow. Okay, rub it in a little more.
Yeah.
Well, you know. But no, I do. I'm very sad that we're not there. But this is the last Monday Night Football, right? So then we're just going to do playoffs after this, correct?
Yep, exactly.
Yes,
Yeah, and that's everyone watching too. Stay tuned for our playoffs coverage. We don't know, but you'll be updated. When
Yeah,
we figure it out.
we'll tweet it out from our various accounts, and I'm sure AfterBuzz will retweet us, you know, because they love us, because we're the best after show here.
Yes,
you know?
we are.
We truly are. And can, you know, matter of fact, when we do playoffs, can we all come in with like paraphernalia of our teams just to show the unity between the love of
Why would you represent your team when they're not even in the playoffs?
To show my allegiance and loyalty to them?
I think we need to come in with an unbiased attitude as we analyze the teams that did make it to the playoffs.
I think you should probably come in a Chargers t-shirt for the rest of the season. That's what I think.
So?
Don't you think Kevin should wear a Chargers t-shirt? Because his team didn't make it, and since he had this thing going on,
Thaddeus just wants to see me in this tight shirt. That's what it is.
It's not tight.
It's not even
It would be tight on me,
Yeah.
but it's not tight on you. It fits perfectly.
I wish you would wear it, Thaddeus.
Oh, I bet you would.
For real?
My mocha chocolate latte.
You better be careful because he may want to bend you over if he did do that.
Okay, Kevin.
I mean, Kevin, John,
Whoa.
Peters.
taking it a step too far.
You didn't hear Thaddeus earlier.
No, you're
I
the.
believe
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Steph. We're listening.
I've worn Jets gear every single week.
I'll wear a Jets
I don't know
t-shirt.
about you guys finally
Listen,
stepping it up and wearing your team.
Yeah, I think it would be good for us to represent our teams throughout the playoffs. I think
Listen.
Or we could all wear Jets gear.
I'll wear Chargers
Yes.
if Kevin wears the Jets. Because Kevin, you know what? Kevin's been giving Stef Z crap all season long.
Yeah.
Like every time he breathes, there's a Jets pun or joke coming out of his mouth. So I think for the rest of the season, he should wear a Jets t-shirt or some kind of Jets paraphernalia. Especially since you lost this big game to the Chargers.
I agree.
Thaddeus, everyone on this panel has talked crap about the Jets at one point in time this season.
Not as
I
much
don't
as
think
you.
I have.
Not as much as you.
In fact, I actually picked the Jets one game against the Dolphins, which they lost by 3 points? Was that, Steph?
Yeah, something
So
like that.
I actually picked the Jets to win that game, and they could have got it.
If you guys all want to wear Jets gear, there's a lot of Jets gear on sale here in New York because we're terrible.
Well, you can go ahead and bring us stuff, and
Bring me
we
a
will wear
t-shirt.
it. I will wear it for sure.
Size large, not extra small,
right.
ladies.
Yeah, I think they're just giving Jets gear
Yeah, you
out.
can get Kevin and I the same size.
Get Kevin and Christina
Clearly.
XS.
You know what? There's
Bring me an
nothing
L.
wrong. To those that are watching, you keep hearing them clown my physique and body size. There's nothing wrong with being fit, skinny, and athletic and in good. So,
Just FYI, we cut your mic off.
Yeah, I thought so. I was
thought so.
waiting. Thank you.
Steph's not here to grab
Thank
my
you,
mic.
Phil.
Thanks, Phil.
Phil, you're the best.
Okay, so let's talk about Monday Night Football tonight.
Yeah, Steph, did you watch it?
Let's do it. I did. I only got to watch the end of the game.
Well, that was the best
flying.
part, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the best part when it started raining. It started getting sloppy, but it was a good game. I kind of, Manning, I don't know. He kind of falls apart. I mean, it wasn't all his fault.
Wait,
I
first
get
of
the
all,
conditions.
we had a dispute earlier. Do you remember if Thaddeus chose the Bengals or the Broncos?
You know what? I'm not really sure because I don't have my notebook with me, but I'm sure Fantasy Stats Guru will keep us posted. But I feel like I chose the Bengals. I feel like I was 4-0, or at least 3-1 this week with my picks.
I think I picked the Bengals. I'm pretty sure.
I know not that many people picked the Bengals. I think only one person picked them this week.
Yeah.
I don't think
So
it was that
either
many.
Thaddeus or Steph, I guess.
Well, we have to go back and check.
But anyways,
We'll
yes.
let you guys know.
Like
next
we were
week.
talking
Or
about.
Fantasy Sports Guru, let us know.
Yeah, Fantasy Sports Guru, always keeping us up to date with
Yes.
our predictions. So we had Broncos at Bengals, and it was definitely a great game. I mean, the momentum shifted multiple times throughout that game. And like Steph was saying, Peyton Manning was a little shaky, and we don't usually see that from him.
You know what's funny, minus the interceptions? His numbers, he was like, what, 25 for 38 at one point?
28 for 43
44.
with 311 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions.
Those interceptions is what really killed him.
Yep.
And then he had how many sacks? How many times was he sacked?
I'm not sure.
I mean, he was sacked
Look
like
that
2 or
up.
3 times in the fourth quarter alone, right?
But what you got to realize is Peyton started playing bad. I mean, his first half wasn't great, but his atrocious second half. I'm not trying to get Peyton off the hook, but I think a lot of that had to do with the weather. Some of those balls that he was throwing in the second half, they were coming out of his hand wobbly. I mean, just ducks.
Okay, well, here's to his.
Yeah, but Andy Dalton wasn't throwing that many interceptions.
He was
And
only
it's
sacked
22
twice.
He's only sacked twice.
Peyton, yeah.
Wow.
Okay, so to his defense, there was a couple times that he was hurried, right? That's attributed to the poor protection by the offensive line, and then you have him trying to get away, and he's throwing passes off of his back foot. You know, it might look like it's him, which it is him. He could just take the loss, or he could try to throw it away, or try to make the pass to a guy who's open. But then again, you're fighting weather conditions, and then he throws a pick, which goes for it's a pick 6, right? So. You got to kind of give some of the line has to take some credit for that too, because when you have a guy who's getting pressure on him, you can't expect him to make accurate passes in the rain. Well, I don't care if it's Superman throwing those balls. Peyton Manning is not perfect.
You know who could throw accurate passes in the rain? Colin Kaepernick. So
definitely not.
Obviously, that's a joke. So, anyways, I've said that was a joke. I did not mean that. So, no, what I was going to say is I think a lot of us aren't giving enough respect to the Bengals defense. If you looked in the first half, they had Peyton shook. There were a few defensive schemes that they lined up on where they were actually screwing, because, we all know Peyton audibles multiple times at the line.
Yes.
Omaha, this, that. They were purposely
a lot of dummy snap counts and things like that. Yeah.
I mean, he's genius at that. But if you looked at the Bengals defense and their secondary, how they were lining up, some would come in as if they were going to blitz and then back up, or some would go back in zone and then go to man. So they were playing with him, and that was throwing off his his chemistry with his receivers. So I think the Bengals defense watched a lot of tape on Peyton Manning, and they came out and they were able to adapt to his play. So I think a lot of credit just really goes to them versus Peyton having a bad game.
Right, but then you see in the second half, they came out and went back to their no-huddle, hurry-up offense, which is what started working for them.
Right.
Because clearly, like you said, the Bengals defense watched tape on him and knew what to expect. So by, hurrying up, going faster, running these little screens and stuff, that with CJ Anderson running their run game, they got their run game going a little bit better. Well, I don't know, because Jeremy Hill rushed for 147 yards. CJ Anderson only rushed for 83 yards, but he also had 8 receptions and 55 yards. So,
I mean, he was a contributor on both ends.
But yeah, I think that hurry up offense definitely changed the pace for the Broncos. But like Thaddeus said, those interceptions were crucial. Without those interceptions, the Broncos would have won no problem.
Right.
Because that second half, they just completely dominated.
Yeah.
So now that the Broncos did not win, so they did not clinch a first-round bye, what do you expect for them going into playoffs not having home field advantage?
It's going to be tough.
They're going to lose.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Just based on what they're showing, they're not consistent and reliable right now. So you're looking at the toss of a coin. Basically, if they happen to have a good game, if the opposing team happens to have a bad game, it's too many variables for them to be relied upon to continually win, to win anything, to go into the playoffs winning. It's just, it's just like a matter of time. When are they going to lose? Pretty much.
I agree. There's a lot of variables that go
Right.
into it. You know, depending who they face off the first round, what stadium they're going to be playing in.
What the weather's going to be like.
What the weather's going to. Yeah, there's a lot of things that go into it.
And they're not strong enough team to overcome those things.
The thing is what I saw from them. You know, I noticed the Broncos are good when they get their running game going. When they get their running game going, that's what makes them good because it opens up more things. Play action passing. It spreads the defense. And then they can get back into that quick huddle. But I never really noticed their offense in sync with the exception of the third quarter when they had, 14 or 21 unanswered points. And the key is, can they get that running game going? You know, last season, you saw them lean on Noshawn Moreno, which was a perfect complement to that high up-tempo offense that they were running. But I think a lot of it's going to come down to that. That's going to be the X factor is a running game going into the postseason.
Right. Well, even in the beginning of this season, they had Ronnie Hillman, they had Monty Ball. Both they did not have. C.J. Anderson was an undrafted guy. Like, you know, he's done well for himself this season, but he's still, you know, if you want to compare him to Jeremy Hill on the Bengals, who is a very good running back, a rookie, obviously still, you know, got a lot to learn, but he's had multiple, you know, dominant games. And you saw that tonight. He really just cut through that Denver defense and made them, you know, look like they weren't really that good. Like they're, you know, a little bit overrated.
Right. He made a lot of those guys look like they were just standing still.
Yeah.
Some of the cuts and hold decisions he was making was really superior or elite-ish, you would say. You know, you're like, okay, he's got the defense guessing.
Yeah.
And
he's patient too.
Yeah, he's patient, and he allows the play to develop. So that's going to be very, very crucial to the Bengals offense.
What do you think, Steph, about this home field, the lack of home field advantage, I should say,
For the
Broncos? Yeah.
Honestly, I mean, I know I'm going to get berated for saying this, but I feel like the Broncos altogether are overrated. I feel like they're good, and Peyton Manning's good, and I get that whenever we talk about top 3 or top 4 quarterback, he comes up, and he's a vet, and he's smart, and he knows the game. But it's like every time I've caught the last few games, it's like they're not an exciting team for me to watch. So I kind of just wasn't shocked that they didn't win. I don't think they're going to go far in the playoffs, and I don't necessarily know that home field advantage has so much to do with it. I just feel like he kind of crumbles at times. I don't know.
That's true because if you think 2 years ago they had home field advantage, they had the first week bye, and then they lost at home to the Ravens, I believe it was.
It doesn't kind of like it doesn't shake out. You know what I mean? Like some teams, like the Seahawks, when you play at home, huge advantage. The Saints, when you play at home, huge advantage.
Well,
I don't know that
usually,
Denver
but not so much anymore.
Right, but they're known for that.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't feel like Denver is known for that 12th man or bringing that, and I feel like they're all kind of, not all, but like Denver's clearly suffering, and like I get that tonight, the conditions and everything, but still, like when you're Peyton Manning, you should know how to throw the football when it's raining.
Okay, well,
you know what I mean?
speaking
so
of,
I don't know that that's. I don't know. I don't think they're going to go far.
Speaking of Peyton Manning and him should have, would have, based on his experience and where he is, do you think it's about time for him to start contemplating retirement?
Oh,
Retiring?
No.
Well, I mean, that's
silly.
the question.
That's silly.
Silly?
That's a silly question.
How old is he? Like 34 or something?
He's 37 or 38.
Mm-hmm. He's like 38, I believe.
John
And that's a
Elway, he
silly
won his last
question?
Super Bowl when he was like 38 or 39 years old.
Yeah, but that's John
But
Elway. Is John Elway.
they're all
Peyton
that
Manning
old.
is
Like
Peyton Manning.
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady's 37.
getting up to-
Yeah.
like they're all kind of like, it's like their last few years, if that. Like Peyton Manning is not going to be in the game for another 5-10 years. There's no way.
Oh, yeah.
Neither is Tom Brady.
Yeah, but does
Like,
he even, do
like
they
a
even have
few
another?
years tops.
He still has
But
2
do
more
they-
years
like-
left on his contract after this year's season.
Right, but
Yeah, but he can
But he
retire
kinda
whenever he
choked.
wants.
He like, I don't know. Like I feel like I get he's a great quarterback, and I get like I'm not
The
trying
greatest.
to take anything away from him, but he doesn't. I don't know that he's the greatest, and he doesn't dazzle me.
Well,
You know what I mean?
well,
And
I
it's
think-
not because I'm a hater. The Jets don't even play them.
Of
You know what I
course,
mean?
of
It's
course.
Just, he doesn't like. I always watch the games, and I hear Peyton Manning, and everyone talks Peyton Manning, and I expect this like spectacular game to be watched, and that doesn't happen.
the thing with Peyton,
I think the reason why is because he's built such a marquee of a name and a brand based on what he has accomplished that he's still riding on that somewhat. And that's the reason I'm bringing this up. Is it close to that time for him to think about starting to retire. Because I mean, to be honest with you, I don't want to see what happened to Brett Favre happen to Peyton Manning. Brett Favre is one of the greatest quarterbacks to play the game, and you would have never thought that by the last couple seasons that he played.
What are you talking about? His second to last season was the best season he ever had. When he took the Saints to the NFC Championship, that was the greatest season statistically Brett Favre ever had when he was 39 years old.
Okay.
His last season, the very last one on the bike, that was absolutely terrible. But when he lost the NFC Championship to the Saints, that was his best season that he had ever had statistically.
Okay,
so,
but you just said statistically.
Right, but
does that mean don't want to watch him?
Up, dude. He could have finished 2 years earlier and like still been doing the Wrangler commercials and been fine.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, people kind of look at him as the guy that should have retired sooner, regardless of what his stats were.
I think what we have here with the Peyton Manning is a Kobe Bryant syndrome where they're starting to get up there. They still clearly both of them still have skill, but it's like you are not the player that you were 10 years ago. And they're almost, maybe it's you're trying to do too much. I feel like it's the same thing with Kobe. Like Peyton gets injured so much easier.
Right.
You know, it's a lot harder to come back from injury when you're older. Right. And there's just, he's not as accurate. He's not as, you know, I guess maybe, you know,
Granted, he still is better than half of the.
That's what I was going to say.
Right.
37-year-old Kobe Bryant and a 38-year-old Peyton Manning are still better than over half the players in their position in the league. They're actually better than 3/4 of the players in their positions in the league.
Okay.
So I think they're too
But you
lone.
want to be better. You don't want to be that 39-year-old or that 40-year-old that sucks and should have quit the league.
Well, yeah, of course.
That's my point. You want to protect. You want to protect your legacy.
I feel you. I totally understand.
Michael Jordan didn't have to play for the Wizards.
Yeah.
He would have been okay.
That is true.
Okay, so
honestly, I'm sure a bunch of people don't even remember the fact that he played for the Wizards.
No, they don't, and no one's thinking about that because that's how great he was.
Right.
No one gives a what about him playing.
Yeah,
for the
he
Wizards.
was actually balling a little bit for them too.
He was. He was still.
I mean, not Michael Jordan like, but
right. But he was still, even though he was still balling, people want to remember and have the feeling. Remember, when you leave anything, the experience that you have is based on how somebody influenced you or made you feel. And when you see that person not make you feel the way they're used to experiencing you and your talent, then you have to think about it's time to maybe give it up so you can have people remember that euphoric feeling of watching you. At the end of the day, sports is entertainment. At the end of the day. It's not scripted. Well, it is to a certain degree, but it's not scripted like watching a movie and getting those certain feelings. It's something that brings out the best of people. You're looking at character, integrity, rising to the occasion, being a clutch performer. There's certain things that bring out the intangibles.
And notoriously, that is Peyton Manning.
Right.
But.
Right.
My thing is this: the talk about Peyton retiring. Yes, I agree with all of you guys.
It's a legitimate conversation.
Yeah, it is.
No. I agree with all of you guys. He is maybe past his prime. Now, even that's arguably because think about it. Less than a year ago, he led the highest record-setting offense we've ever seen.
It doesn't matter. He got blown out in the Super Bowl.
That's true. But we're not talking about the Super Bowl. We're talking about Peyton.
Yes, but
as a player, is he still effective and productive? We saw that last year at the age of 37. He was the most productive quarterback.
To an extent, because he couldn't finish the season.
I agree with you on that, but he was still productive.
And it wasn't that he just got blown out in the Super Bowl. It was how.
Yeah,
he was annihilated. I'm not denying that.
It was ugly.
But to think that Peyton is ready to throw the cleats up because he had one bad game tonight, when you look at all the statistics.
We're not saying that this season, at the end of the season, he's done. We're saying should he start thinking about retirement?
Of course, he only has 2 years left on his contract. That goes without. What, you think he's going to play for 10 years?
He could have retired after playing for Indy.
No, man, he still had a lot in him. He
could have and been fine.
Of course he could have. He could have retired after he won the Super Bowl in 2006.
Okay, then what you have to really think about is how much more is Peyton Manning gonna accomplish in his career to attribute to his legacy? That's really gonna make him
how much
more of a Peyton Manning.
Right, how much more can he do? Or you know,
he wants another ring.
Like, what's the quality of his continuing seasons going to be?
What keeps any?
I get he wants another ring. He's not gonna win the Super Bowl this year. There's no chance that Denver wins the Super Bowl this year.
But I'm saying that's his motivation. motivation.
I don't think they're barely in the top
do
five.
that.
I agree with you. But the question was, what else does he have to prove? What is his legacy? His motivation is he's chasing another ring.
Yeah, no, I
That's
get
what's keeping
that.
him in the game.
Maybe because his little brother has two.
That too. He wants to beat little brother.
Maybe
so
so.
At the end of the day, when he's thinking about
He has
hanging
all
the
the
cleats
stats.
up,
His brother has the
I think
rings.
he's looking at those trophies and say, look, I had this great, illustrious, decorated career, but all I have is one ring to show for it. I want another ring before I retire. So I think personally that's what's motivating him
No,
to keep on
it
going.
definitely is, and that's exactly why Kobe's still playing. Not that the Lakers have
the Lakers.
any chance of getting a ring,
Well, I
but
think
that
the
is
Broncos
why
have a chance
he's
of getting a ring either.
right. Well, that's what I'm saying.
But that's what
I'm
fuels
not.
him.
But I don't deny that at all.
Yeah.
I agree with you. But what I'm saying is, are you going to keep playing? Or are you going to push yourself to the point where you go out on a horrendous season, and people are like, well, why did he keep going? Why didn't he just end on a decent season or end on a good season? You know what I mean? That's what we're talking about.
That's what you have to think about.
Right.
No, I think the thing is with any professional athlete, I think when you come to grips that you cannot play the sport at the highest level possible, and even Kobe himself has said that when he says, when I can't go out there and compete and feel that I can perform at the highest level, that's when I'll give it up. And I still think right now Peyton Manning can still go out there and compete at its highest level.
You know who left?
I think he still can personally.
You left
he had a terrible game tonight.
You know who left on a high note in their career in football?
John Elway.
Barry Sanders. John Elway also. I'm
Yeah.
just talking about in general. A guy who still performed. The reasons he left were political or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But he performed at a high level still. This guy was still the man. And you know what? Everybody's always going to remember him as that. He's not going to be the guy who got traded to another team.
I disagree.
He sat on the bench behind somebody else.
Because
who
I'm going to
didn't
name another
perform.
running back.
You saw his performance decline, and he wasn't Barry Sanders anymore. The only Barry Sanders I know is the dude who was the best running back to play the game.
Okay, I'm gonna disagree with you. There was another running back that washed out, got traded to another team, but is still highly regarded as the best back of all time, Emmitt Smith. He washed out the last 2 or 3 years. He went to the Arizona Cardinals, didn't even really see much time. He could have retired after Dallas, but he kept playing. Another player, Jerry Rice. I'm sure we heard of him. After going to the Raiders, he ended up going to the Seahawks for like a season, then ended up going somewhere else and washed out. So I think a lot of elite players did that later on in their careers. Barry Sanders is one of the exceptions. Warren Sapp did the same thing. There's a ton of players that washed out later on going to other teams. Joe Montana, he went to the Chiefs. And
Steph, I wish you were here to see the veins popping out of Kevin's neck right now.
And for me,
I mean
I don't know
business
if you
with this
heard me
talk.
last
And for me, I would rather have
but
seen.
it's really, really funny to just listen because, like, when I'm actually there, it's like super way more fun. I'd love to be there. I wish I was there, but it's like I'm so into it, and my veins are popping out too. And just sitting here and knowing that there's like a little delay with the phone and not to talk over, like I hear the passion. I hear the fire.
Oh, I'm passionate about this.
And I got some more flames for you.
Come on, Thaddeus.
I'd rather would have seen Emmitt Smith retire with the Cowboys. I'd rather would have seen Jerry Rice retire with the 49ers. This whole go play for another team or 2 other teams and then go back sign for that one day to retire that one day with another team is lame.
But
it's the
Thaddeus,
lamest thing in sports that athletes do that.
And
If you were still performing and playing for another team and you're going to retire, your retiring is on that team. You're not back in the locker room performing for another team. To go back one day just because you had all your greatest accomplishments for that team is lame.
Right, and I hate to go back to basketball again,
Deion
but
Sanders did it.
Kobe Bryant, that's the reason why he just signed this last contract. He wants to retire a Laker. That's what he's going to do.
Exactly.
Okay, but
That's class.
And that is classy, and I commend Kobe because I think there's a lot of hate about Kobe. I think he's the greatest shooting guard, one of them of all time. Him and Jordan, it's still debate. But at any rate, going back to what I was initially saying, yes, it would have been great to see Emmitt retire a Cowboy, to see Jerry retire a 49, all this other stuff. But you got to realize if a player still has the ability to play at a high level and they still want a ring, they're going to do that. We see this happen year after year in sports. These great franchise players get traded the last few years because either the new team is trying to regroup and they need some of that money in cap space, so they send them shopping. And as a player, I feel it's your prerogative. If I'm 34, 35, and I'm at and I still feel I can play the game at a peak level.
What was that, Steph?
I said no way. No way is it. I feel like if Kobe for his last couple years had because the Lakers suck right now. So if say he had
They do.
I love your accent when you said they suck.
To join they do. Sorry, my accent comes out thicker as soon as I touch down in New York. But if Kobe had a chance to win a ring with a better team and he were to go sign with them for the next 2 years, that is complete disservice to your fans. It'd be like if Derek Jeter all of a sudden when
It's
he was
kinda like
going to
being a
retire,
LeBron fan.
He was like, oh, let me go play
I
with
know.
somebody else.
LeBron was a
Exactly.
classic.
It's kind of like being a LeBron
It
fan.
is it's a
LeBron
total
is like
LeBron
LeBron's
thing.
like, I'm gonna jump over here. Oh my gosh, let me see who's the best. I'm gonna go over here and win a ring over here. Oh, let me go over here and win a ring over there. Like,
see,
really?
you know
what?
Is that what professional sports has come to?
That's you playing for yourself and not
Right.
for the good of your team and
Exactly.
caring about the sports is about being on a team. You want your team to win. That's why it's so difficult to watch these players that clearly you don't care about your team. You're just looking out for yourself. And I get that. I don't mean to say that you shouldn't look for the more money, the better contract, all that kind of stuff. You know, go for it. But there comes a point in your career where is it worth it to do that, to bounce around to a couple more teams and
Well, let me tell you.
kind of
let me tell you.
Tina, you brought a
flutter
great-
out?
You bring up a very good point, and I'm gonna say this: sports is also a business,
Yeah.
and the players understand it is a business as well. And your loyalty to a team, you may have loyalty, but you never know when that team may ship you. You never know when that team's talking behind your back about trading you
But
and all
see-
that other
but
stuff.
see, that you
so,
mentioned that,
with
that's
that
part of
being
that problem.
said,
The owners.
yeah, the owners,
The
yeah,
owners have started perpetuated this.
Exactly.
It started with the
so
owners
I
doing
believe
that.
it's just unfair just to put that on the player. At the end of the day, you're right. Some of the players do have to look out for themselves because their owners or the franchise is not looking out for them. So sometimes that does dictate them to make decisions that may not be fun.
That's getting into another animal, though. That's talking about guys leaving teams. Like for one of the guys that I hate the most. I don't hate this guy the most, but I'm talking about this business decision that he made was Ricky Waters, running back for the San Francisco 49ers.
Oh, I know about Ricky.
When he left the 49ers.
He went to the Eagles.
And he went to the Eagles. I hated that. I was like, how's this guy going to leave? He's on a Super Bowl championship team. He left just for more money. That to me was completely not with the sport or sports and fun and being a fan and the business of sportsmanship. Like, how do you remain a fan for somebody who's just chasing money? And he was still a great player. He was still in his prime, but he left because he wanted to get a payday. I get it on the business side because the teams are not loyal to the players anymore like they used to be back in the 60s and 70s.
Exactly.
So the players have to go for what they know. What we originally were talking about was when a player's career is starting to decline and it's like that time for them to retire. Don't go dilly-dallying around, letting you're withering like that flap in the wind, like your career is doing this. Go out strong. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree.
And I'm saying this.
that.
Yeah.
But I'm saying this in regards to Peyton. After the year that Peyton had last year, the best year ever in football as far as a quarterback is concerned, why would you even contemplate retiring the next year? Even if, because he made it to the Super Bowl. If anything, that's unfinished business why he wanted to come back this year. I get it. He looked horrible tonight. And it evoked the question, should he retire? But at the end of the day, Peyton Manning at his worst age as a 50-year-old in the NFL is still better than half of the players out there.
And so is Tom Brady. But I think Tom Brady should be thinking about retiring.
Well, yes,
And he's just playing for the same team.
Our original question was, should he consider retire, not should he retire right
No.
now.
At the end of his contract, he should retire.
So that, but let's
And he has
back on Monday Night Football. Let's talk a little bit about the Bengals, who actually won the game tonight.
Yeah, let's talk about Red Rocket.
Yes, let's talk about. They referred to him, Andy Dalton, as Red Rocket, which I'm still a little bit uneasy about that reference on
Ginger
national
Man.
TV. But he's so notorious for totally choking in prime time, and I mean, they're in the playoffs now, so we'll see how they perform in playoffs because he also has a problem with performing in playoffs. But I was impressed by Dalton's performance tonight. I thought he looked like he, was a lot more composed, had more confidence, was connecting with his team. Granted, his offensive line did a great job. He didn't get sacked once tonight.
Right.
His defense obviously put up a good fight for them, allowing them, to get more opportunities on the field with a lot of 3-and-outs for the Broncos.
And establish a run game too.
Yeah. So what do you guys think about Dalton's overall performance tonight?
Well, if you look at the stat sheet on Dalton, it's nothing that's going to wow you. I mean, he only threw for
17 for 26, 146 yards and 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. But
And then what was the
Jeremy
running
Hill,
game?
Hill had 22 carries, 147 yards and a TD.
There you go.
Yeah. I look at this game that Dalton played today. He was a great game manager. He got it done when he needed to. I kind of look at a game like this and reflect it to like the Seahawks, where you have a quarterback that doesn't have to go out and throw for 300-400 yards and 5 TDs. You have a great defense that's going to support you, that can get interceptions, as they got 4 on one of the greatest quarterbacks. And you established a run game. He had his Marshawn Lynch. He had his Legion of Boom. Andy Dalton did. So he was able to win the game. And I think that because of his team put up a good effort defensively and they established a run game, not a lot was called upon Andy to go out and have to do so much to win this game. He did a great job. He's one of the bright QBs of the future. You know, a lot of times people talk about the quarterbacks of the future. They mention Luck. They mention Cap. RG3, Russell Wilson, all these other guys. But Andy Dalton is one of those people that kind of get, pushed under. And
I'd take him over RG3.
Boy, I think I would take Tebow over RG3 right now.
But here's the thing. Mentioning that, the staple of good smash mouth offense and establishing a great consistent offense is establishing the run.
Yes,
and they were able to do that. You look at the stats of Hill. He set up and established a run that allows you to open up the pass. And the reason that is because the run is considered safe. When you're putting the ball out there, now the ball is susceptible to being tipped, being blocked, being intercepted, or whatever. When you have a straight handoff, it's something that's safe. That's safe football. You hand it off to the guy, you're going to secure the football, secure the possession, and open up a hole for the guy to run downfield. And they were able to do that, and then you open up the pass. You can run play action or do whatever, and they were able to do that. You don't have to have a quarterback that throws for 1,000,000 yards. You don't. To have a successful game.
Exactly.
In fact, if you have a guy that's throwing for 1,000,000 yards, the other team must really, 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 really suck, or your run game is freaking horrible. Is that simple?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there are teams that do just have that high-powered offense where they can do that. For example, if you look at the greatest show on turf, Kurt Warner, Isaac Bruce, and they had Marshall Faulk.
But a lot of Marshall Faulk's production came from the pass as well.
That is true. I mean, it was passing. He was still good running the ball.
Yeah,
and then last year with the Broncos, I mean, Peyton put up a clinic as far as all those record-setting yards and touchdowns, but Noshawn Moreno was still a good back last year that still went over 1,000. So I think there are times when you can have an offensive explosion on the run game and on the passing game. But what the Bengals did tonight was they controlled the line of scrimmage. They controlled the ball. And because of the fact that Hill did a great job, that takes pressure off a quarterback. When you know that you have a back, like, for example, with Tony Romo and DeMarco Murray, I think part of the reason why the Cowboys are doing so good this year is because they got a great back that takes the pressure off of Romo. He doesn't have to go out there and be Superman night after night.
Well, here's
so
the
you
thing.
see,
you're not gonna have a team that's gonna be a threat, a Super Bowl or a playoff threat if they don't have a run that's established. It's that simple. I don't know of any teams that have gone out there and just been a pass threat without the threat of a backfield runner and made it far. I don't think it's ever happened. I think all the great teams have had a strong backfield and had more of just a solid pass game. You just need a solid pass game, but you have to have a strong run game. You have to.
I agree.
Right. No matter, even though this league is becoming more and more pass centric, like you said, Thaddeus, obviously your run game is very important. And if you can't establish a ground game, because even in the conditions tonight, you saw both quarterbacks were having issues passing the ball.
Yeah.
If you can't establish a ground game, that's like probably that and a solid defense are the two main keys to a successful football team.
Right.
So I think that the Bengals,
especially when it's pouring rain.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was pouring tonight. Because Giovanni Bernard also had 5 carries for 45 yards and a touchdown. Not a huge night for him, but still he put up decent numbers.
Yeah, it's a solid.
So what do you guys think? I want to know.
That's 9 yards a carry, for crying out loud.
Yeah, I want to know what you think about
I know, right?
the Bengals' chances. I know we don't. I know
that is 9.
Yeah, that's 9 yards.
That's
a carry.
really solid.
That's really solid.
I don't know who they're gonna play, but we know who's gonna be in, or most likely gonna be in the playoffs. So what do you think the Bengals' chances are of making it past the first round?
Who else
Well,
is
depends
in their
who they
division?
go up against the
who
first
else is
round.
Well, I don't know. Let's see if I have it.
So in their division, in the AFC North, the Pittsburgh is already Pittsburgh and the Bengals are the two teams that clinched in the AFC North.
Did Pittsburgh lose or win this weekend or last weekend?
This past weekend,
Yeah.
I think they who did they play?
I think they won.
They won, yeah, because they did win because they clinched. So both them and
They clinched the division or a playoff berth?
playoff berth.
Okay.
They played the Chiefs and they won.
Okay, so
the
and
Chiefs,
Baltimore lost, right?
Baltimore,
Texas,
yeah,
the
they did
Texans
lose.
won. Yeah, so according to what I have here, it says that the Bengals would have clinched the AFC North division if they won, Pittsburgh lost, and Baltimore lost. But since Pittsburgh won, I don't know what that necessarily means for them. I know they've clinched a playoff position, but I don't know if they clinch the division.
Exactly. Neither of them have clinched the division yet. They just...
Oh, it probably depends because they play Steelers next week or Sunday. So it probably depends. That game is probably a fight for the AFC North.
Got you.
So who do you guys think's going to win then between that team? Who do you think's going to win the AFC North? Bengals or Steelers?
I mean, that's a pretty evenly team when you match them up. You know,
it's all about momentum, and just looking at the way the Bengals play tonight, I would have to if the game were next week, I'd have to go with the Bengals.
I think the Bengals have a superior defense as well, and they shut out the Browns last week, 30-0. So they're coming two back-to-back, dominant
They're looking strong.
performances.
They definitely have momentum on their side.
Steph, what do you think?
Between the Cincinnati and Steelers, I think that, I don't know, man. Roethlisberger, he's really good and makes shit happen, but I think that...
And it's in Pittsburgh, too.
Ooh, it's in Pittsburgh.
I kind of think that...
I kind of think it depends on the weather.
Roethlisberger, his experience and I think he's going to pull through. I would bet on Pittsburgh.
I'm going to have to back Steph on that, too, especially now that you said that it's in Pittsburgh. And I think, really, that could just be the deciding factor, is the fact that they're at home. They're going to have the momentum, the fans. The Bengals are a great team. Don't get it twisted. But I say this one goes down to the end. It's not going to be a blowout either way. It definitely is going to go down to the end.
I might have to ride with the Bengals.
I feel like their performance tonight, and I didn't watch their game against the Browns last week, but, I mean, the Browns have been playing well, so the fact that they shut them out is... a testament to their defense.
Right.
I think their defense played really well tonight. I think they couldn't play for the full game. If they had that first half performance, even extended maybe throughout the third quarter.
Yeah.
Because like you said, like we've said a couple times, without those interceptions, I think the Broncos would have won.
Right.
So if the Bengals defense could have kept, with that endurance, I guess you could say, and played hard like that for the entire game, I think the score would have been a lot different.
Here's the thing.
Also, too, I don't think that the Bengals capitalized on there's 4 turnovers. There was a lot of stuff that happened, and they couldn't get it done as well.
Right, that Pac-Man Jones interception, then he taunted, and they got pushed back 15 yards. They would have been in field goal range if they didn't, if he didn't do that.
Yeah.
Just silly things like that kind of
which I think is just like a young mindset, as opposed to Roethlisberger and the Steelers, which is led by a little bit more of a vet.
And that's another thing. Speaking of veteranship, the Steelers, we all know they've been, this team that they have with Roethlisberger, they've been to 3 Super Bowls. They're heavily experienced in the postseason. I mean, I think the Steelers, other than the Patriots, probably within the last 10 years, have probably the most playoff appearances. Fantasy Stats Guru can validate that. But at any rate, that's another thing that I give the Steelers the upper hand is the Bengals. They've made the playoffs the last 3 years under Dalton, but they've lost in the first round every year. So that's another reason I give the Steelers the edge, is because they just have that experience.
Right. And the Steelers do have that experience. But one thing that I noticed tonight, and just looking at them from tonight, and then performing how they did when they put the smash on the Browns, this is a team that is hungry. And when a team is hungry, that means they want it. They want it bad. And there's something that comes out when you can overcome adversity during a game, even throughout your mistakes. And when you can overcome your mistakes in a game, that means you're hungry enough to compensate for the mistakes that you made to do what you have to do to win a ball game. At the end of the day, Peyton Manning, he performed the way he performed, the weather, you can call it whatever, but hey, the other team was playing in the same weather. They didn't have to get those picks. The ball could have, he could have dropped the ball, Fitzpatrick, but he made 2 picks. One was for 6, and Peyton Manning threw 2 other picks. So at the end of the day, that team just wanted it real bad. They wanted to win that game. When you have a Peyton Manning team that actually, you could say, oh, well, if the weather wasn't this good, or if this wasn't that, this was hey, everybody was playing it between the same lines and the same conditions, and the Bengals pulled it out. So they wanted it more, and this team was playing like they really, really wanted. And maybe those last 3 years where they went to the playoffs and won and lost in the first round was enough. 3 times enough. Let's do more. I think they might win.
But you also got to, speaking of wanting, you got to realize this is a Steeler team that has had a playoff drought too, and they're just as hungry, just as hungry for a win. So you want
to hear a funny stat that I just saw while I was listening to you guys?
Humor us.
So for the most wins through the first 4 seasons for a starting quarterback, Andy Dalton and Ben Roethlisberger are tied at 39.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So if Dalton wins, then he's.
You sure Russell Wilson's not up there?
What do you say?
I said, you sure Russell Wilson is not up there? Because I know his first 3 seasons, the Seahawks have been like 12 and won like 12. I think.
No,
13.
it's number 1 is Joe Flacco with 44. 2 is Matt
Flacco's
Ryan
a
with
man.
43. 3
Wow.
is Dan Marino with 41, and tied for 4th is Andy Dalton and Ben Roethlisberger with 39.
How about that?
Interesting.
Yeah, that sets the stage.
Well,
Yep.
I think, how about, since we don't have a Monday Night Football game next week, why don't we just go through the remaining games and make our predictions?
I like it.
You gonna take these?
Sounds good.
You gonna take these?
I'm going to write them down in
Okay.
Steph's absence. So let's get into predictions, Phil.
Woo! Let's do it, Vitek.
Phil's asleep.
Oh, there he is.
You heard his name. He's like, huh? What?
Drool coming out.
Right.
All right, so I'm gonna say the matchup, and then I'll go Steph, Thaddeus, Kevin, and myself. That will go in that order in our
Okay.
predictions. So first up, we have Bills at Patriots. Steph.
I'm thinking, I think the Bills are going to win.
All right.
Wow.
No, that's a good prediction because the Bills have actually been playing pretty well. I mean, they just beat the Packers.
Beat the Packers, yeah.
Didn't they
They're
just lose
not.
to the Raiders though?
Did they?
Oh,
Is that who
I
they
think-
played last
They
week?
just lost to the Raiders, I think.
Well, and New England just almost lost to the Jets. Tom Brady got sacked
Yeah,
4
you're right.
times. It was
Yeah, but
sloppy
they're the
game.
kind of team that would
Like,
bounce back from that.
That'll be a good matchup. Thaddeus, who are you taking?
The Pates. The
Okay.
Pats.
And plus the Pats are at home too, right?
Yeah, I'll
Kevin?
take the Patriots.
Pats.
The Pats.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Pats too. All
I
right.
just can't bet for him.
I know. Browns at Ravens. Ravens are out of the playoff picture. Browns don't have a chance either. It's kind of a wash game, but
Oh, it's a beer bowl.
And Manziel's out, right?
yeah, he's out for the season.
Oh, if he's out for
Yeah,
the season, then the
I'm going to take the Ravens.
He said
All
the
right.
Browns.
Browns
He's
gonna
out.
lose.
Dad,
Ravens.
Kevin.
I'm gonna go with the Birds.
Okay, I am too. Ravens. Next up, Bears at Vikings. That's kind of a just crap game too. I mean, let's just be
And wait
honest.
up, what's his face is not in. Jimmy Clausen is out for this one too, right?
Yeah,
So
and actually, funny
Cutler's
fact.
back in. Or go.
No, Jimmy Clausen's still in.
Oh, I thought he was injured and he wasn't going to be able to play this game.
Oh, I don't know. But his wife and I played volleyball together.
Are you
So,
serious?
yeah, she
Where?
went to USC. I didn't play with her, obviously, at USC, but we played in the volleyball club scene at the same time. She was a little older than me, but
Who is this?
Jess Geisen. She was a
Okay.
superstar volleyball player at USC with my best friend, Gina Urango. Shout out, Gina.
Bruins.
But anyways, yeah, so Bears
Bruins.
at Vikings.
I'm going to pick the Bears.
Okay. Thaddeus?
Bears.
Kevin?
Let's go with the Bears.
I'm gonna give a little Teddy B. I'm gonna go
Little
for
Bridgewater
it.
action?
I'm gonna say Vikings because the Bears just really suck.
They do.
Cowboys at Redskins. Now the Redskins just beat the Eagles to, kind of wash their chances at NFC East title, and the Cowboys clinched that title. So, not that that really matters, but hey, you never know. Who are you guys gonna take, Steph?
Where are they playing?
Cowboys
Redskins?
at Redskins. Yes.
I'm going to go with the Cowboys.
Okay.
I'm going with the boys. We them boys.
I'm gonna go with them too.
Yeah.
Even though I'm not a Romo fan, I'm gonna go with the boys too.
Yeah, I just don't
They
really.
just look good this year, man.
They do. I don't see them going all the way, but I know they'll have a. They
They're
may
definitely not
get
going all the
back get past the first round of playoffs.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. They'll
Yeah,
definitely get
they're
to the-
definitely a first round playoff team.
Jags at Texans. Steph.
That's like a wash game.
I mean, yeah. I guess Texans, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
Sure.
The only reason I'll say the Texans just because I know how bad Jacksonville is.
You too.
Texans.
Yeah. I mean,
That's hilarious.
you never know what could happen, but the Texans are still a better overall team than the Jags. So,
Yeah.
Colts at Titans. That's another. I mean, actually,
Colts are
that'll
good
be an
too.
interest. Not that good. The Cowboys just basically
they got
almost
spanked.
shut them out.
Yeah, they got
so
spanked.
it'll be interesting to see how Andrew Luck bounces back after that horrible performance. Even
You said
though
Colts versus
it's
who?
the Titans, like it's not. They're not that.
The Colts
I'm
versus the
going to take
Titans.
the
Yes.
Colts.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the Colts.
Okay.
I mean,
Same.
the Colts already clinched their
Colts.
division anyway.
Colts for me.
Yeah, I'll say Colts.
Yeah, I don't see it being any other way. Chargers at Chiefs. You already know who I'm choosing. I'm just gonna not even have to say it.
I'll choose the Chargers. I'm with you now. Get me a Bolt. Get me a Bolt. If you're gonna wear a Jet shirt, get me a Bolt.
You got it.
Chiefs.
Really, Thaddeus?
Yeah. That's a business decision. Sorry.
So are you gonna wear that if the Chargers win?
I won't wear that.
She just wants to see you in this.
Especially now that Kevin's worn it.
Yeah, that's true. I'm gonna have to get it like dry cleaned or something.
Crazy. This shirt ain't never.
I mean, I could
smelled
wear
so fresh
it.
before.
It just won't be on this part of my body because it won't fit there.
Anyways, I'm gonna go with the Chargers, man. That boy Phillip Rivers is a bad boy. That is a bad boy.
All right.
And this is the game that takes me to the
Jets
lead.
at Dolphins.
Picks.
We already know Steph's pick here.
I'm going
I'm
with the.
going for the Jets. I need some support, people.
I'm going with the Jets. I'm going with the Jets.
You
Steph.
know, yeah, I'm gonna take the Jets too because they almost beat the Patriots.
Where are they at
Maybe
on
they're on a little
Jets
bit
Dolphins?
of. They have a little bit of
Miami's actually second in the
encouragement
NFC East.
to beat another rival. Yes, they're going to be in Miami, which may be a little difficult, but I'm not going to count the Jets out. I'm gonna take them just for you.
They're gonna have the Stef Z mojo in the house.
That's true.
They will.
Thaddeus, Kevin, who are you taking?
Dolphins.
Kevin.
I'm going with the Jets all day.
Now I'm two games ahead of everybody.
All day.
Saints at Bucks. Oh, that's just
Who that?
Saints.
yeah.
I'm going with the Saints too.
Saints what? What is it?
Saints at Buccaneers.
The Saints.
Yeah. Even though they just, lost that game at home.
I know. They
to
needed
the
that
Falcons.
game too.
I mean, they've been really bad at home. So they've been a better road team than they have been at home. So, and the Buccaneers are not so great. So I don't see that being a problem for them. Eagles at Giants.
Ooh.
That'll be a good matchup because the Eagles, they're going to need to bounce back after this loss.
I'm gonna take the Giants.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, people. They got Beckham Jr. Man, like
Yeah.
he's just crazy. People are coming to the stadium early to see him practice. Like it's.
That's
I
true.
feel like they're like their
That's our New
mojo
York
is like
default
up
team.
there. I'll take the
Yeah,
Giants.
he's definitely talented. I still think the Eagles can pull it out. I'm gonna go with the Eagles.
Who's starting for the Eagles?
I don't know.
At QB?
Yeah.
Well, is Foles healthy?
It says Foles.
Oh, it does say Foles. See, I was gonna go with them when Sanchez is starting because the reason I was gonna say I'll go with Sanchez because he's playing for a contract right now. This is like the only chance he's really got.
I think he's kind of played his way out of that.
I guess if they're going with Foles now, then I guess he did play his way out of it.
Yeah, he had one good game.
Yeah.
That first start that we all
The
witnessed,
Monday Night Football game.
Football.
Yeah.
And then he really hasn't done much since then. And I didn't watch the game.
I'm gonna have to say it that I was like, everyone was like, Sanchez is back. Not you guys, but all the commentators. And
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, Sanchez played good for us in the beginning too. He's terrible. And
Yeah.
4 games later, he's terrible.
Yep.
Giants.
All right, Kevin.
You know what? I'm gonna go with the Birds.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with the Birds.
So now this is an interesting game because this game determines the winner of the NFC South. Panthers at Falcons.
Falcons.
Dirty Bird all
Rise
day.
up.
Everyone?
Rise up.
Rise up.
Rise up.
Them Dirty
You know what I'm
Birds.
saying? Rise up.
I'm going with them Dirty Birds.
Oh, we all got them.
I agree. I think they've gone on a little bit of a run. They've,
Isn't Cam Newton out for the season too?
No, he
think
just
so.
he just won.
No,
he just played.
He played.
Yeah.
He
After
just
the
sat
car
out the one
accident,
game.
he's starting.
He just sat out one game
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
because he won this last Sunday.
Super cute.
Yeah, he's starting.
Raiders at Broncos. This could be an upset. This could be the Raiders. They could get another win out
I'll
of
put
this.
it like
This
this:
is a rivalry
if the Raiders
game,
beat the
too.
Broncos, we could have a legitimate Peyton Manning retirement conversation
Okay.
after that.
All
If
right.
they beat the
Wait, so should Cap retire? Because Cap got beat by the Raiders.
Oh.
I'm just saying, even the Jets beat the Raiders this year.
That was a good one, Steph.
That was a nice one, Steph.
You know what, Steph? I'm gonna let you get that. I'm not even gonna come back with anything. That was good. I give
All
it
right,
to you.
Steph, who are you taking there? Raiders or Broncos?
I'm gonna take the Broncos.
All right. Everyone else agreeing with that?
Yeah, I'm going with the horses.
Oh man, I don't know.
What? Do you really?
You're like the zoo tonight. The birds, the horses.
Didn't the Raiders?
I know, right?
Didn't the Raiders beat the 49ers also?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we were just talking
Yeah,
about.
Right,
that's what we just
exactly.
said.
So I don't know.
So you think they might
Because the 49ers are really, really great. So maybe the Raiders are kind of good.
You just said the 49ers are what?
Your sarcasm.
Broncos.
I love it. Okay, Lions
I deserve
at
this.
Packers. Now this is another game.
Oh, this is a good one.
Ooh, that's an NFC. That's another NFC South matchup. I believe it is.
No, not
or,
NFC
or not
South,
NFC South.
North.
NFC North. Yeah, thank
Yes. This
Packers.
is yeah.
Because they both clinched already too.
It's a hard one. I mean, it's very
This is probably the toughest
difficult
game to pick. Where is it at?
in Lambeau, at Lambeau. So that's what really is kind of a deciding factor because it is very tough to play there. You know it's going to be freezing.
Yeah.
But Detroit's cold too.
But yeah, and the
They
Lions.
play in a dome though. You
But
gotta
the
realize that.
Lions.
That's true.
The Lions have been playing well. It's tough. Steph's going with the Packers.
I'm gonna go with the
Yeah.
pack attack.
I'll go with the Chiefs.
And plus, Aaron Rodgers having an MVP like season. He wants to end this on a high note.
Yeah, as much as I want to pick the Lions because I mean, you guys all know I love Matthew Stafford.
I didn't know that. It's the first time I
Oh
heard
yeah,
you.
because you weren't on the show yet. But
What do you get? You got a crush on Matthew?
yeah, I think he's a cute little teddy bear.
I didn't know he was hood enough for you. You know, I was.
Go wash up, dirty bird.
What was that?
I have no idea. That was hilarious, though. We know Phil's awake. All right.
But yeah, I just can't see an upset happening there for the Lions. If the Lions were at home, I would still probably lean towards the Packers, but I could see I could see them winning. But the fact that they're in Green Bay, I just
at home the Packers are going to be. It's a very strong playoff team.
all right. Cardinals at 49ers. I'm picking the Cardinals. I'm not even gonna.
I'm taking the Cardinals.
The 49ers are still playing?
Yeah.
You know what? First of all, I'm gonna be at this game, so I'm gonna be thinking of all of you guys, and I'm gonna
So
send
they're
you guys.
definitely not gonna
definitely
win.
gonna lose. They're definitely
You know
gonna
what?
lose.
I take it back. I'm going the 49ers.
I love you, Steph.
I got the 49ers.
Thank you.
Why?
Because she knows football. That's why. She knows
And
football.
Because he's taking the Jets because I'm going to be there, so a team player would give that right back to him and pick his team, the Niners, when he's there.
Look
All
at
right,
that.
Thaddeus.
Loyalty right there. Thaddeus, make the smart decision.
The
Remember,
Cardinals.
Arizona's on their third string quarterback. You realize they're on their third string quarterback, right?
They're still better than the
What does that
49ers
mean?
with the third string quarterback. Anyways, Rams
Ouch!
at
hurt.
Rams
I'm
at
fierce.
Seahawks.
Man down.
I mean, come on.
Seahawks.
Rams at Seahawks, yeah.
Seahawks. But wait, didn't the Rams beat the Seahawks earlier this season?
They did. The Rams beat the Niners
But
too, and the
in
Broncos.
St. Louis. In St. Louis, though.
Oh, that was in St. Louis.
I don't think they beat them in Seattle.
No, they're not
That's a
going to beat them in
different
Seattle.
story.
Yeah.
No, because they're playing in Seattle this time, so I'm
Yeah.
going to take the Hawks.
Yeah, the Hawks.
Kevin?
The Bluebirds.
You know what? I'm gonna just go
Is that a
with
birds
the
in the league?
Rams because they're our division rival.
All right.
Because the Seahawks, excuse me. are our
And
division.
now, we already spoke about this game, Bengals at Steelers. Is everyone taking the Steelers here? Or Thaddeus, you were
I'm
going with the
taking
Bengals.
Yeah. Again.
I'm going with the team that has the same color as these microphone tops.
Black and yellow,
Black and yellow.
Black and yellow.
Uh-huh.
I'm going with the Steelers, too. Yo.
Yes, that puts me 4 games up on you guys.
You know what? Whoever wins this week, as far as the 4 of us, whoever wins has the
It
best
doesn't
percentage.
matter because Thaddeus and I are crushing the two of you. So
Right.
it's really just
It's
between
really between me and
us.
Tina.
So
But you know what?
I think
Tina,
we need to
That
just...
could all change in the next couple
Thank
weeks.
you.
We just
Thank
start
you,
betting
Steph.
on all
Not
the
even
teams.
close.
Exactly.
First of all, mathematically, it's not even possible because we've all chosen too many games of the same
let me
for
ask
you
you guys
guys to
something.
make a
Tina,
difference
Tina,
in
Thaddeus.
these other
You know what?
games.
Have you guys
Just-
ever heard
just
this?
Let me have it.
Have you ever heard this? It's not how you start, it's how you finish. Whoever finishes strong this week should be the undisputed winner of it.
No,
Is that what she
it's
said?
whatever the record is. So, okay, wait. So
Yeah.
it's not how you start, it's how you finish. So your team finished like crap. So what does that say about them?
Damn.
I mean, you're just digging your own hole here.
and you
I'm just
know-
helping you out.
I have
by,
to
throwing
receive this.
some dirt back.
I have to receive all this because I deserve it. My team.
Yes, like the 49ers received it. Keep going.
I want to pick the Bengals. I kind of really
Steph,
want.
now I know how you feel week after week because I'm enduring all of this.
Thank
Okay,
you.
I feel.
Thank you.
I'm right with you.
So I'm gonna break this down here.
Did we do all the games?
Yes,
Okay.
that was the last game.
Yeah.
I think I just can't. I'm wavering a little bit.
What's the
because
last game that we picked?
Bengals at Steelers, and you chose Bengals, and I kind of want to take the Bengals because I feel like the Broncos are better than the Steelers, and the Bengals kind of whooped on the Broncos. And so
sometimes it's just about the matchup, though, because sometimes each like say you take 3 teams, this team could be this team, that beats this team.
No, I know that. So I'm just trying to. I'm just kind of thinking in my head here because the easy pick would be to go with the Steelers because they're at home.
See,
I mean, obviously
the
home team is kind of, but like we both said earlier, the Bengals are on a run. They've won 2 good games in a row.
Strong games.
I don't know if I said the Browns was a strong
but they
one.
shut them out. The Browns are decent this year. They're not as bad as they have been in the
atrocious that game.
One game?
Yeah.
That was the worst offensive game I think the whole season.
But I'm talking about they play a number of games all season.
No, I'm just talking about the one game. She was referencing how they beat the Browns with 30-0, and I was like, I don't know if I give that to them or how bad the Browns and Manziel were that game.
Yeah, I mean it's always
definitive win though. I mean, like does the donut 30-0?
Here, let's take a look here. Where's my schedule? Let's look at the Bengals.
If anything, that gave them enough confidence to come to this game and beat Peyton Manning.
Hold on a second, though. This is a game changer, possibly. The Bengals lost to the Steelers at home, 42-21, just a few weeks ago, Week 14.
Oh.
You know what? All these extra stats and lookups, you got to just pick the team you want to win.
Yeah, you just got to go with your gut.
I'm going to go with the Bengals then because that's what I've been leaning towards.
Yeah, you got to go with your gut.
Okay.
To be honest with you, last week my head was leaning towards the Broncos, and my gut told me the Bengals, and that's why I was like the Bengals.
Yeah.
You have to pick with your gut.
That was a long prediction session.
That was.
But you guys,
we're getting the wrap up music now.
We will post on our Twitter accounts, Instagrams, everything when we're going to be having our playoff coverage and all that good stuff. So guys, tell them where they can find you. Steph, you go first.
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at IamSteph with an FZ.
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Club Thaddeus.
You can find me at Instagram and Twitter at HeyKevinJohn.
And same with me, Instagram and Twitter at Tina Cap. And stay tuned for the playoffs. Playoffs!
Whoop, whoop.
Niners are out of the playoffs.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.